Said that if you put all those artists in one building, there would be fights, lawsuits, beatings, and suicides. Oh, they had it all and more.
I can think of at least 6 suicides. It's nicknamed Deathbeth.
The other theory is, this building was part of the Manhattan Project, developing the atomic bomb. They did a lot of atomic research in this building, and I think the 9th floor still is radioactive and makes people crazy. I'm really worried about that. Suicides on the 9th floor. Many.
At least 4.
Yeah.
There's more than that. It's in my documentary. There's 6 or 7.
Yeah. And I think that there are many people who suffer deeply in this building with depression and with illness and this and that. And they're very isolated and alone. Maybe it's because it's such a large building. I think DIANE ARBUS, her neighbors were not very nice to her. I know that some of the people who lived up near her were not particularly friendly people. And people in this building, some of them who are not successful, are jealous of artists who are. So there was that element. There was a lot of jealousy because she was popular. She was successful.
Let them be what they want to be, and let them flow and grow.
People are users. People will make friends with you not because they really like you, but because they want connections. They want a network.
So deep. Who knows where it came from? She was deep as an adult. And who'd ever believe that somebody who seemed apparently normal, she was functioning, but something happened, something was going on with herself, and nobody, she showed it in her work. People said, there's something here. That's speaking a lot, even though it's not telling everything. And she just happened to live on the same floor that I was living on, just down the hall, a few doors. But I never got near. I just saw her and, said hello. But these people, so many here, have been confused or mixed up. There was another man right down the hall, a few doors more, and he walked off the roof one day, and nobody expected or anything like this. He was a poet, he was a writer, and I had read some of his things at a certain time, and it's just what happened to some people. Oh, and a third. A younger woman, I knew her brother as an actor. We had both been actors, and she'd moved in. He had told me that he was suspicious of her attempting to take her own life, and otherwise she was normal enough to get along with her young kid, about 6, 7, or 8, and she just decided to walk out a window one day, and the under shot of this was the young boy, the young son, would run out in the hallway screaming that they sees blood coming down the walls.
They wanted a diverse kind of community with a foundation in making art. And what was not anticipated was the artistic sensibility. Over the years, and especially there was a spike in the 70s and early 80s where a lot of the artists in WESTBETH committed suicide. And they committed suicide like in the building. They would jump from the roof onto the courtyard, or they would, die in a bathtub or something. And the sad part about it was that since there were so many kids around, some of them saw these people jumping off the roofs or finding their bodies on the courtyard. I don't mean, a sudden death like that is always something you remember. And for the kids, for a long time, they used to call WESTBETH Deathbeth because of the number of people who died by their own power. And why these people committed suicide, it's hard to say, because like from the outside, everything always, an artist is kind of like the same kind of person as a regular person. They have, deep-seated resentments or depression. So it's hard to give a whole category that an artistic sensibility are the only people that are uniquely sad. But I think with an artist, there is this idea that you're creating a world of your own. Your artwork is basically a world that no one else shares. It's a world of your own creation. And so I imagine when you're creating such a world, you do feel lonely in some ways. I mean, even if you have a family and you have friends and you have a community around you, there's a certain, unlike being a plumber or postman, there's a certain solitude that being an artist that's part and parcel of how you create art. It's hard to create art in the middle of a crowd. You're basically alone.
And I think maybe for people who do succeed, it's worse, because they should say, oh, I'm a successful artist. I should be happy, but I feel like shit.
To some people feeling so depressed that they, cannot bear to stay in the world and willingly leave their kids, their wives, their family, their friends, because in a small community like WESTBETH, each of those losses was really a big loss.
I don't know, we have just next Salvador, we just open it at the end of the corridor, but I'm not sure. Unless you go to the basement. This is the middle lift, and you go to B.
Oh, okay.
Please call the number provided as soon as possible, where virus you will be guided for the removal of the adverse.
Well, I think that if you do your work, that's an obsession and a wonderful experience. It is something. Some people are tortured when they do their art. I've always been very wonderfully excited. It's always been a wonderful game to me. It's a wonderful way of really being. It was really being completely yourself.
Please call the number provided as soon as possible, where virus you will be guided for the removal of the adverse spyware virus on your computer. Virus installed on the pop-ups means that you have